Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reviewing Gabrielle Aplin's third album, Dear Happy. Before we get started, I want to remind you that this is simply my opinion on the album, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Dear Happy is Gabrielle Aplin's third album and also a first as an indie artist, which is something that I was excited about because I really enjoyed the EPs that came before this album. And honestly, this one feels like pretty much a good continuation of this pop sound that she has been exploring for the last 4 years. And thinking of it, I'm actually surprised it took this long for the album to come out because the last EP, Avalon, was released back in 2017. So it's been like almost 3 years without anything except some songs released here and there. But finally we got this album, so let's talk about it. So it comes with 14 songs, and when I saw that I was like, oof, this is gonna feel long. And honestly, it does feel a bit long sometimes because especially the second part of the album feels like it tends to drag on the last couple of tracks. And this is something that is always very tricky with pop music, especially if the sound is pretty even on every song. And I think that's the biggest foe this album battles. And it makes me feel like it goes round and round with the same sound, kind of the same recipe with sometimes little differences here and there, but you can't deny that especially the second part feels very much the same thing over and over. Even though, different lyrics, even the melodies do change, but you can't help at the same, at their core, they feel very much the same thing. And I feel like this album could have benefited from cutting off some songs and maybe bringing it to like 11, 12. Maybe between 10 and 11 songs, I think it would have worked a lot better. And now that I got the biggest negative from this album out, I actually enjoyed this one. I mean, it definitely is very pop and cutesy at times, so if you're not into this type of bubblegum pop music, you might not enjoy it, but I personally liked it. Although I wouldn't listen to it every day, but I found myself listening to it pretty regularly ever since it came out last week. And this album does indulge a little bit too much at times, especially on the ballads. And I think that's the songs that I connected to the less are the ballads on this one, and especially the one called My Mistake. It's honestly, after it came out last Friday, it's the only song now that I just skip, because after listening to it a few times, it tends to annoy me more than anything. I don't know, there's something about the choruses that are very indulgent, and like I get the message of the song, it's very raw and very honest in its lyrics, but the choruses really drag the song, and it just doesn't work for me at all. So like I said, I much prefer the first half of the album, and honestly, I've got nothing to criticize because it's really full of very efficient pop songs, and they all manage to have a very clear flavor, which really makes everything flow so well together. And it's a shame the second part doesn't quite achieve the same feat. But I can still appreciate the effort here, and I can't deny songs like Until the Sun Comes Up, Invisible, obviously Miss You that came out 4 years ago and it's still fantastic. And all the ones I quoted are very good as well. And I also enjoy the songs that dare to be a little bit more daring, like Kintsugi or featuring Losing Me. There's something about these two songs, like they feel so different from the rest of the album, and yet they still fit so well with it. And I think they really allow the album to take a breather and just go beyond the same thing over and over. And I think that's why they really help the album feel a lot more appealing to me, because even though yes, it's a bit long at times, it does feel special and addictive enough for me to go back to it often. And overall, I really enjoyed this album. It does have some flaws, like I said again and again. The second half really could have used some fuel and be more dynamic, and the ballads really don't do anything to me. Which is weird because Gabrielle Aplin's voice is really nice. I really like her voice. But still, I still found myself very immersed in this album, and that is why I gave it 3.5 stars. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tell me what you think of this album down below, and I'll see you next time.